In 1987, the native Hawaiian Kauai'u was recorded last singing by ornithologist David Boynton, just 2 years after the final visible sighting. A lone male singing in a barren forest, awaiting the response from a female that never received. Millions of years of evolution and unique adaptations to the island, all swept by disease, invasive species, and habitat lost. All culminated within the last of its kind, an endling. Before You Go Extinct is a difficult manga to categorize in the conventional reference of literature. It's an anthology with absurdity on par of Kurt Vonnegut, but isn't an allegory or satire. The story utilizes anthropomorphized animals to explore the concept of extinction, while being relatively restrained with writing humans as a malevolent species responsible for the species' end. Although humans act in two of the stories as an overarching force, the stories otherwise don't devolve into heavy-fisted allegory about humanity's tendency to destroy and eliminate vast kinds of species. Before You Go Extinct shows us 3 stories across 6 chapters about the physical being in the world, but also how that connects us to the metaphysical, transcendental essence of the world. We are all in the great lineage of inheritance, and derive meaning from being a part of something unique. Therefore, the loss of the group must deprive the individual of physical and metaphysical properties that connect them to their interrelationships and their understanding in the world they exist in. Strangely, the stories all tell us that there might be a strange light at the finality of extinction. Yet, we'll never know what it looks like. As absurd and contradicting this may be, perhaps the absurdity is where we can find comfort. The first story opens up with a mass-murdering penguin named Pen, shooting another penguin in a fanatic, fatalist desire to accelerate their extinction. Pen's philosophy is almost a satirized iteration of Plutarch's account of Silenus' wisdom in Consolatio ad Apollonium. Not to be born is the best of all, and that to be dead is better than to live. Pen's motivation derives from the fact that suffering is an inherited trait of living, and so removing someone's ability to feel, regardless of the metaphysical outcome, would be nothing short of an act of love. To Pen, there is nothing but the physical, and the physical is tainted by the senses, and because there is no substance, as the classical philosophers like Plato and Aristotle suggest, there is no attaining a higher comprehension of the world other than what can be observed. The removal of the lineage of being is something violent and which can be advanced further by the tools of man after leaving a stockpile of arms from a senseless war in the middle of Antarctica. Yet, Pen's partner Meryl sees her role in the world differently. She doesn't seem to oppose Pen's discontent with penguin society, but takes it about from another route. She holds a stone egg that appears to be the main motif of the anthology, and warms it as if it was alive in protest. To her, penguin society values the productivity of carrying the species, and upholding a sterile, inorganic simulacrum of an egg suggests that there may be more to the species' existence than simply existing. This bears the essence of the other stories, and in this one's final moment. Meryl reveals to have double-crossed Pen, and the couple are gunned down by a penguin army before Pen could detonate an ice shelf that would starve the population. The motif of the stone appears in some form throughout the other stories, through various efficacy, except for the second story about the Hawaiian crows. To summarize it quickly, the last wild crow, Loco, has spent his years studying crow culture despite believing it pointless. On his deathbed, he teaches the student how to mourn him. All the remaining captive race crows follow in the ritual. It's a unique story in the anthology, as we know there will be other crows after our protagonists, but not if there will be a crow culture, which appropriately raises the question, can there be crows and no crow culture? Could there be such a thing as a Hawaiian crow existing without adopting the behaviors of a crow? The story also uniquely gives us a more poignant answer by implying that the crows would naturally reach for crow culture, or rather, something that grounds them to their land much further than their genetics or upbringing. Collective groups want purpose and a set of actions that make them feel like they're part of something larger than themselves. Loco doesn't know why they mourn this way, neither did his mentor, nor will the later generations of crow after. But why attempt to remove the irrational spirit in the greater collection when the purpose of it is to lose the rational individual in the place of belonging? The last of the crows has yet to perish with the end of Loco. The stone, as previously alluded to, takes on the physical embodiment of extinction, especially when the most effective stories in the anthology are about birds. The stone is a type of pseudo-egg that is both a symbol of femininity in the biological functions and an artifact of mortal legacy. It inherits the latter properties as the stories mostly follow a duo of male endlings. The stone doesn't have an expressed quality in either stories involving the kakapo and the last penguins in Antarctica, probably show that their inclination towards it is inherent or functions at a subconscious biological level. But sometimes a stone is just a stone. The kakapo singing into the stone microphone might do so because they enjoy it, and the same thing with the penguins. The stone has many purposes that's been explored throughout the stories, but in the final story, it now invites the penguin child to study what Aristotle would call the four causes. It has a physical cause of being an inorganic material, the round causal form, and the geological cause that brought it to existence, but not a final cause that which gives it purpose. The materialist might interpret the muse of a final cause as pointless, without the individual or even collective the individual derives from to continuously supply the meaning of that stone. What will become of it after extinction? It is materially a stone and will return to that status if no one's there to interpret it otherwise. But before you go extinct contends with a more classical theory, the idea that there's something more transcendental in the actions of the individual and the collective, therefore giving meaning to the objects apart from those intentions. Will this forever remain a microphone? Perhaps not. But the idea that it once was imbued with these intentions acknowledges that there will be something after we're gone. They will not vanish into the abyss. They will exist in some form on this planet long after this species is gone. The wisdom of Silenus is foolish. We and the animals in the narratives are both individuals and a part of the collective lineage of being. Our relics, however ambiguous may be, are proof that we once were, and I think that's what the story is trying to tell us. They are not inherently defeatist narratives, nor antinatalist, but seek to tell us that we are more than material. The question of what is the meaning of extinction is twofold: in the tangible disappearance of a species, and the loss of the substance the group provides. The Kwaiwu is perhaps gone forever, and yet we still feel a melancholy for this final song. But I think it's the fact that we have an item to lament over that Before You Go Extinct wants to emphasize.